This video is brought to you by our Patreon page. Help us.
Quando você diz pra mim que é minha, teu doce nome repito, Geninha. Eu gosto tanto de ser, sempre ser teu. Não há ninguém mais feliz do que eu. Minha Geninha, eu quero sempre amar. Minha Geninha, o nome, o amor, vou cantar. Sinto ao meu ombro sonhando, quietinha, que a minha vida tem nome, Geninha. À noite quando ficamos sozinhos, penso em nós dois para sempre juntinhos. Minha Geninha, eu quero sempre amar. Minha Geninha, o nome, o amor, vou cantar. Minha Geninha, eu quero sempre amar. Minha Geninha, o nome, o amor, vou cantar. Minha Geninha, eu quero sempre amar. Minha Geninha, o nome, o amor, vou cantar. Minha Geninha, eu vou amar.
Bora.
Minha Geninha, eu vou cantar.
As bonitas de mim, menina, menina, tu pensas coisinhas bonitas de mim, menina, menina, lindos olhos você tem, cabelos longos também, não te troco por ninguém, menina, te quero bem, swinga, some baby, swinga, swinga, menina,
Hello.
Can you hear?
swinga, some baby, swinga.
Dude,
Can
I
you
got.
hear me?
I gotta say, I got super nervous that nobody was gonna show up because of last weekend. I was like, oh no. They get out of the group for like 1 week and they're gone forever. Oh no. Oh well. All right. Well, thank you for coming. I was like preparing. I was like, okay, what can I do by myself to make shit happen? How you guys doing? Is Lux coming?
I don't know. I'm texting him right now.
Oh, all right. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Finally, blue skies in California. It's been a while since we see the sun.
Oh shit. Yeah. It's been red over there because of the fires, yeah?
Yeah, it was red, but also like super smoky and just like gray, like no blue skies. Like,
Difficult to
sun-
hear you, man.
No blue skies. It's just super gray,
Perfect.
smoky.
That's
like,
good.
Yeah, like I mean, you headache, hard to breathe. You know,
He's gone again. God
Hello?
damn it. Hey,
there I am.
there you
Yeah,
are.
so last I heard. Really?
What's happening?
What is happening?
I don't know. I'm not doing
Are
anything.
you moving? Are you moving?
No.
There's something wrong with your cord, with your microphone.
Damn.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Please don't say that again.
Can you hear me now?
Shit. Well, so tell us about that experience, right? Like how did you handle, like, none of the houses have filtration systems unless it's a super expensive like house, right? And so how did, like, was it smoky inside your house or like hard to breathe?
Not so bad in the house.
Oh wait, I also have a question. Do you not get frightened that those fires are so close? Like, do you ever feel endangered?
No, but only because I live out in the valley. Pretty far away.
Well, hold on. I want to hear the answer to the first question. Like, how are
Okay.
you coping?
Honestly, like I just spent a lot more time indoors, like because the original fires that happened, from the lightning storm like a month ago, it got really smoky and crazy with those too, but I didn't really notice any effect on, like, physically or whatever. But this last fire was just, I mean, the smoke was just so thick and it wouldn't leave. It was here for days. And yeah, just like I'd usually bike to work, and I couldn't do that. Like I
Yeah,
walked,
I
but
bet.
just that extra, physical activity of bicycling, of getting your heart rate up was difficult. So I mean,
Yeah.
I basically just stayed inside.
Okay,
How
so
many days
back to
was
Duff's
was it like
question.
that?
Oh.
Well, so no, I feel like I guess I'm not used to that. I look at a map of California and I understand that you're far away from it, but it engulfs so much of an area. Like, I look at it and I'm honestly frightened for the people in California. And so I just think, I know you're not close to it, but are you still kind of you see the sky like that? Are you not like, oh shit, like this is it? Like,
Well, I mean,
does it not freak you out?
it does.
It's not the first time, Duff, and I think he just dropped. But just so you know, it's not the first time that, like, California has had such a thing happen and the skies turned red. This is really big. But I remember when I was living there, the sky turned red, ash rained from the sky. I was living in LA, and then I was living in the Bay Area, and it happened there too. So it's kind of like a almost regular occurrence if you live in California long enough.
I guess I just kind of like that. Really, you have no control over fire. I mean, you have no control over hurricanes or floods or any of that stuff either. But
you
it's
know,
just,
like how relatively
yeah.
far away you are from those things, Like,
yeah, I guess. But you just see the reports of, like, they're not where it's at. But the people that the fires do come through, like, how terrifying is that?
Oh, totally. You lose all your stuff. You have to move out of the house.
Yeah.
Also, even just walking outside kind of gives you the feeling of the end of the world, even if you're not really a part of it. And, I mean, not to mention having trouble breathing, right? Like,
You are affected by it as well.
yeah.
It might not be a direct threat, but yeah, I can't imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, but even
We're kind of like immune to that stuff up here in the Northeast. We get really bad storms, but there's not much of that extreme weather that hits this region.
well, you get we nah, I would argue against that because this isn't really weather. This is these are some natural, some artificial fires, right? But it's not like a weather occurrence.
Right, yeah, it's not weather.
But what is terrifying, I'll tell you what, I moved from California to the Northeast, and I was, yard sale, I was just telling her that, you know, if you live in California long enough, this is kind of a regular occurrence. You know what I mean? This is not the first time this has happened. I lived in LA, and it happened there. I lived in the Bay, it happened there too. The sky turned red, right? This was probably a really extreme case. But I will say when I moved to the Northeast, and I moved to New York specifically, fucking hail like I've never seen before in my life, winds like I've never seen before in my life, and I'm like, how does this city exist? Like, this has got to be the biggest fuck you to God.
It does get really windy
in the world, because nobody should have been building buildings in this fucking region, no, let alone skyscrapers. This is the biggest fuck you to God.
I guess that that does not, I feel like that's normal, and like compared to the other things that's happening and the extreme things that are, you know, weather related or not. I understand that this wasn't weather related, but
this is
I you know.
Well,
I get that I get this is normal
for,
I get this is normal for you, but like
what
I'm
it's normal
freaking
for
out,
Californians as well. Yeah.
What I'm freaking out about is when winter comes and my little Mini Cooper is buried in snow, and how do I deal with that? I guess I need a shovel. I got to shovel it out? What do you mean I got to shovel my car out? What the fuck does that mean? I don't know. You know?
I guess that's true. I mean, that's just so normal.
That's
and
insane
yes, you should
to me.
Definitely get a shovel. They sell little tiny ones.
Okay,
that
so
you can put in the back of your car.
And then what if my door handle freezes? Like,
it won't freeze.
How do I? Well,
it doesn't get that cold anymore. It hasn't really gotten that cold. But if it does freeze, just pour some boiling water on it.
Okay, so I'm gonna get boiling water, take it 30 flights of stairs all the way down, walk 2 blocks, and then pour it on my door handle.
Yes.
What? This is
or
insane.
Or go to the deli and get some hot water.
This is insane.
I don't know. That's easy stuff. I would never think of that as.
But that's what I'm trying to explain, is that this is kind of a normal occurrence for you.
I never looked at it that way. That's true.
But for me, it's rather insane. I'm not looking forward to dealing with it. I might have to ditch the car.
But I think that's in more than the Northeast, right? Like that kind of, you could move Midwest. I mean, really anywhere but California and below, you know?
Yeah. But still doesn't make it fucking normal to me.
At least we don't have to deal with tornadoes. That scares the shit out of me.
That scares the shit out. You know, sometimes we get tornado warnings in Queens.
Yeah, there has been more of this, but I got a tornado warning recently too, this year.
So I'm sitting in my apartment, fucking 30 plus flights up, thinking that there's maybe a tornado with glass windows, you know.
That would be the freakiest thing if you saw a tornado from your building in New York City.
Right? Oh my God.
That would be so scary. That's like, that would be end of the world shit, I feel like.
That would be terrifying, man.
See too many of those movies.
And you know, like even when it's like lightning and thunder, right? And I see the storm come through and I see it all go over the city at night, you know.
It'd be so cool to see that.
It's really cool, but also a little bit eerie. I will say that. It's pretty.
Weather is so
crazy.
Powerful. I mean, when you really like are able to observe it like that, just coming and passing through. And one of the best experiences that I've ever had was I went to Bonnaroo, like, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. And we got a motel room, I actually think it was, in Chattanooga. And it was one of those that had, you know, just, it opened out and it had like the walkway. It was like the outdoor motels, I guess. I don't know what they call it. There's no lobby, right? And my friend and I, we took our chairs and we just sat outside that night and had a couple of beers because it was like kind of on this hill mountain, and this huge, massive thunderstorm rolled in and like didn't touch us, but we could just see it like go right in front of us. And it was the amount of lightning, and you could feel the thunder. It was just amazing. It was one of those experiences. And I just always love just observing like what's happening when it gets really windy. Like I like those windstorms. My mom has this really great awning in her backyard, and I just love sitting out there because you're protected, but you can feel it too.
Weird.
Something about the weather. I
Weird.
know.
That's
I'm
Hey.
weird.
I appreciate that about the desert is, because it's just vast and open. You could see storms coming before they hit you.
Right.
could
There's
just
Yeah,
something
I
very
remember that.
powerful about
And you
it.
can see from the storm clouds,
Yeah.
and then it just looks like gray streaks coming down, and it's all the rain. But you're in sunshine and warm weather, just watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there's I feel like I retained a lot of that like indicators, right? When there's like a storm or something from being out in the woods, right? Like I could see it still in New York if I'm at like in a building, right? Like I could see the because I'm so high up, I could just see it all coming in, and I know that something's coming, I just know it. I don't even have to check my phone. But yeah, if you're new and you're listening or old and listening, we are now on Spotify. I can only post 2 episodes at a time because we're on the free tier. We need some money. You can donate. There's a link. But yeah, we're on Spotify and SoundCloud now, as per somebody's request. I'll leave a link down below in the comments after the show.
You should get on OnlyFans.
OnlyFans? What, are we
Yeah.
doing porn here?
I mean, it seems to make a lot of money. I mean,
Okay, I mean, why not? I mean, as many
What
places as
shows
we can.
would you give the OnlyFans? Because
What?
it's not, you have to give them extra content, right?
yeah.
Uh,
So the extra content will just be you jerking off under the desk while we do the podcast.
no. I think what would really sell is if Yard Sale got his shit together and started making like faces out of his fleshlight.
Well, that's not gonna happen. I mean,
No.
yard sale and getting your
Listen.
shit together.
Let's do some fucking stop motion animation with that shit. We can have a conversation between 2 fleshlights.
Oh,
I'm in.
Not a
bad idea.
Does anybody want to write the script? Because you could write the script and then, I could, anybody have an idea for a nice short? It's got to be like 5 minutes, bro. Can't do stop motion longer than that.
Great introduction to Spotify.
Lux, you made it.
Sorry, I'm late.
No worries. At least you made it. I'm so happy. The whole team's here. Holy shit.
He thought
What-
he was going to get stood up.
Yeah, so I was trying to think of like things to say and do. And listen, today is a very interesting day. I woke up this morning in my usual panic, right? Like, oh my God, I'm still alive. Like, oh my God, I gotta go to work. Like, oh my God, like, please help me. This happens every morning with me. I don't wake up happy. I wake up like in sheer panic mode. And then it's
Really?
only after 2 hours of being awake that I feel like decent,
It
I
just
don't know.
happens, or
Do-
just something.
Do you guys wake up happy all the time? I don't know.
I
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm not like
I
that
don't think
too.
I'm not happy. I don't know if happy is a word. I'm just there, but I'm not happy.
Oh my God, I'm like scared as fuck, and like I think my world's gonna end, and I don't know how I'm gonna get through the day, and it's been that way forever. Since I stopped drinking.
Sounds like you need to start drinking again.
The benefits outweigh the
I'm sorry
the
that
cost.
your day starts that way.
It's gotten
That must
tremendously
be
better.
terrifying.
It's gotten tremendously better. But it's really just like the obligation to like go to work and stuff like that gets me all worked up. But this morning was really special. Okay, I know I've spoken about it a few times. But first off, I went onto Twitter and I discovered something, and I had been using what's called decentralized finance for a while. And now it seems to have picked up as like the new crypto trend is decentralized finance. But I got out of decentralized finance as soon as it started kind of like picking up. It's gotta, with everything new, it's gotta like, it's hyped up extremely, and then you need to get out and then wait for it to calm down in order to like become a good thing. So what decentralized finance is you can get loans and earn interest off of cryptocurrency or your money, like the dollar or gold, and there's no central like authority. There's no bank. It's all decentralized, and all of those mechanisms for loans and interest are all programmed rules into the blockchain. So you don't need a third party. It's pretty great because it gives people the option to like have those functions outside of a bank, outside of the credit system. So for example, I'm able to get a loan without a credit check, a collateralized loan without a credit check. And I think that's like really important for a lot of people right now. Maybe you have savings that you don't want to touch.
To the credit bureaus?
No, that's what I'm saying. It runs completely if it reports to credit bureaus. And this is the beauty of it, is that people probably have savings, and maybe they just need a little bit of money to get them through like the next month, or they need like a tiny loan, and there's low interest rates right now, but like the only people who are getting them are people with great credit scores and lots of money, right? The people who don't really need it, So people with savings also don't want to dip into their savings because it repeats the cycle, right? So like, we're in it's turning into a contraction in the economy, right? Like shit has crashed, and that happens every so often, right? And then people have to dip into their savings, right? But then you have to start your savings all over again, and you're back in the same boat. It's an endless fucking anyways. So you can use decentralized finance to get a loan without a credit check, not have to spend your savings that you work so hard to earn, and then you can pay it back over time, and the interest rates there are even low as well. So, and in some cases, you're earning interest while you've taken out a loan. If you do it right, if you take a loan, like a third of the amount that you're able to you're like able to pull for a loan, if you take a third of that availability, well, you're earning interest while you have this loan, and then the interest rate ends up being like 1%. And in some cases, it ends up paying for itself. So it's basically free until you pay it back.
What kind of collateral do they require?
Gold, dollar, Bitcoin, Ethereum, a list of other cryptocurrencies. But
Wait, you're collateralizing your loan with currencies? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
What do you mean, why would you do that? If you have savings and you don't want to like get rid of your savings, you want to be able to pay it back, right? Especially,
but you have to have cryptocurrency.
You have to have.
Well, you can just put your 10 grand savings in there or whatever, or something like that.
Right, but you have to convert it into a stable coin. You have to convert it into a stable coin equivalent, meaning like it's a dollar, but it's stable coin equivalent. You can exchange it for $1, and that earns actually 10% in interest, which is like way more than any bank will give you. You can do it with gold, right? You don't want to sell your gold. You don't want to, you know what I mean? Anyways, so right now there's a lot of things going on in that space. It's a really great opportunity. We could talk about it more if you guys have more questions.
I understand that a little bit. Yeah, that is pretty cool, actually. So that's just giving opportunities to people who wouldn't have them otherwise.
Exactly. And
think the collateralization piece is what I'm not sure I fully understand. Like why? I mean, if you don't want to put your savings at risk, or you don't want to spend your savings, and you need access to it in emergencies, why would you then use it as collateral? You know what I mean? Like you're saving.
Well,
I mean,
I think
if
if
you're
it,
earning,
I think it,
you're saying if you're earning interest on it,
yeah. So like you can
but you're
take.
also paying interest on the loan that you took out, correct? So
It really just depends, right? So like if you have 10 grand in cash, you convert it to stablecoin and you put it in there and you earn 10% back, right? So that's one way to do it, right? Now, if you take that cash and you convert it into gold, you convert it into Bitcoin, you can take advantage of it as being like a store of value and an investment vehicle for you during this time of inflation or whatever. You don't lose your position, right? And you could take the loan out and keep your position, keep your Bitcoin or gold as the price rises, and eventually, instead of paying it back, you can also pay it back with Bitcoin, or you can pay it back with cash. It really just depends, or you can pay it back with gold. It really just whatever you want to do. And so there's two reasons to do this. One is if you use gold or Bitcoin, it's probably better, right? If you use gold or Bitcoin, you can take advantage of the price increase. If you use the other part to that is that you don't have a taxable event because you're doing a loan, right? So if you ever needed cash from your Bitcoin or cash from your gold, you're not selling it, so there's no capital gains tax. And then if you're using a stable coin, like if you just want cash to earn interest somewhere, why put it in a bank when they're going to give you 0.01% when you can, earn cash from other people taking loans from it, from adding to the liquidity pool, right? So once the loan, there's a loan to value, there's like a loan to value ratio. And what that does is, like, if you reach a certain point, it takes a little bit automatic payments from that collateral, or it liquidates it entirely. So like, let's say Bitcoin went down like, 80% or something like that. You could, it'll take some payments away. But it's a completely unique way of doing it outside of the traditional banking system. My point was not necessarily to explain decentralized finance. It's the new big thing. The point is that because it's the new big thing, a lot of them have what's called like a governance token, and people are kind of speculating on these governance tokens, and it's becoming another hype, pump, dump situation, and with these governance tokens. And what these governance tokens allow you to do is like vote on how the platform should work. And what was special about today is that I was using a decentralized finance product, which was basically a money exchange, but it's decentralized. So, if you think of like the stock market, or you think of like cryptocurrency exchanges, most of them are centralized, and this one is not. And it's a very unique way in which it operates. What I woke up this morning to was a reward for using the platform for before September 1st, for being an early adopter, right? And guess how much it was?
I don't know how much.
Roughly $1,200. Okay, which is
Wow.
like pretty much the same amount as the stimulus check, right? Not only that, it was distributed efficiently. It went straight to my wallet. And the platform I was using was a platform called Uniswap, which basically means that I could instantly exchange it for stablecoin for $1, for an actual dollar. or Bitcoin or whatever, instantly, right? And the price has gone up a little bit, so it ended up being more like $1,300. But then I realized that I used another wallet on the platform, so I didn't just get $1,200. I got $2,800.
Holy shit.
I woke up this morning feeling panicked, walked over to Twitter, saw that like people had gotten stuff in their wallets, and I claimed $2,800.
Wow.
I wonder if this has anything to do. There's a bill before Congress right now where they're debating on another stimulus, and they're talking about paying it with something like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I heard about that, but I think it's separate because this is the way you distribute things in the cryptocurrency space. Like, this is very standard. So like everybody does it. They're usually called like airdrops, and basically they look at all the addresses that interacted with the chain, and then they just send you whatever they want.
So you just got free money?
Hey, Jed, bro, what's up? Hey. Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much, man. I got some free money, and it wasn't necessarily free. Like, I'm using a product that is kind of all of that stuff is growing and not mature, and it's maturing over time, but it hasn't been without its flaws. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice thing to wake up to.
Well, being that you got some free money, I think it's about time you start paying the VAM show staff.
Yeah.
Wow.
I second that.
On that note, I'm just telling you, like, how much decentralized finance literally saved my life. Like, when I lost my job, right, I didn't want to lose my positions. I took out a loan through that, and like the gains that I've had during this time have been, crazy. It makes my original loan look like peanuts, you know what I mean? But it got me through that time, and I couldn't get a loan anywhere else. I literally couldn't, because I had already taken a personal loan. I had some I was using a lot of credit to get by, and so like it literally saved my ass, and I think it can save a lot of people's asses too. Yeah, I'll end it on that. But yeah. If you're interested, I'll post some links. I used Uniswap. If you're watching the stream, that's this basically. You can earn money by injecting by pooling money, being part of the liquidity. And you earn money by the fees that people pay when they swap or exchange currencies.
So you could just put money in and not take out a loan. Like, you could just put money in and be part of the pool that others use.
Well,
so you earn money on that.
Yeah, so an easier one to understand is this website called Compound. And what it does... Hold on, I guess I got to add so I'm adding my wallet here. I've got nothing in this particular wallet. But you can be part of the supply market, and you basically you earn 3% per year. This platform is a little bit lower on the percentage. USD coin is basically the stable coin, right? You can earn 2% here, but there's other places where you can earn like 5-10%. But this
because
is easy
savings
to
accounts
understand,
are like,
right?
you said, they're like, the interest rates are so low. There's nowhere that you're going to see a rate like that. So that's
right.
Cool.
And a lot of it, the rate, because you don't have a bunch of bank overhead, you don't have locations to support, you're also not it's running off of the mechanism of loaning others, and they're paying the interest on it. Anyways, so there's that. I'll post some of that stuff in the.
How stable are these markets? I mean, is there risk of somebody just taking all your shit and bouncing?
So that has happened on like less like this stuff has been around for maybe a year or two, and so it's got a lot of room to grow. There has been platforms that haven't been properly audited on a peer-to-peer basis, or like less, and they have been known to, I can think of one case where money was taken away. And listen, if you're worried about the decentralized nature of this, there are centralized options that offer the same thing, but they interact with the blockchain, and the centralized options give you a little bit of that like protection, and they have like insurance on your assets up to $100 million, and they store your assets in cold storage, but as this matures, this will become really powerful for people. And it's matured quite a bit. So like Uniswap is something that hasn't failed so far, knock on wood. Compound, same. Another popular one is MakerDAO. That one had a very unique take on creating a stablecoin called DAI or DAI. And what that was is like they took a bunch of collateral and tried to create a stable coin dollar. And so it wasn't, so like the way this USD coin is that somebody has a bunch of money stored somewhere, and that money is tokenized on the blockchain. So you're kind of trusting this centralized group that has been audited by third parties, that they have the amount of supply that they have. But with DAI, you don't have to trust it because it's all collateralized. And what happened like last year is that it kind of prices collapsed a little bit, and so the stability of this coin dropped a little bit, got a little bit out of hand. But I think they implemented some changes to kind of fix that. Anyways, yeah, I didn't mean to go on a rant about this. Another one to check out. So this is a centralized option. This is the one I actually use because I like the interest rates and stuff like that. You can earn 10% compounding interest. You get the interest every day, by the way. You borrow, the interest rate is only 6%. Yeah. Options.
So how are they making money though? Because that doesn't make sense.
It does make sense.
The one you just showed us. Go back to the one you just showed us, Nexo. That one looks super legit to me.
Well, because they're a centralized option, right? So so this is all running off of smart contracts and code, whereas this one is, we don't know. It's kind of proprietary. So they do have, they're licensed, they're regulated, they have $100 million in insurance. Their model is good because when you compare their interest rate to other competitors in the space, their interest rate is actually a little bit lower to other ones.
So how does Nexo make money? Are they charging fees?
No. So they make money off the interest rate. Okay. And they make money off of.
But how are they paying 10% and only charging 5.9?
It's a very good question. So there's two. You only get 5.9% if you are. They have a coin of their own, which they use as a staking mechanism. So you get 5.9% if you have enough Nexo to cover the interest rate for like the year. and then the default is 12%. So some people are probably paying 12%. Also, other people aren't necessarily as responsible. And then the other part to that is that the value of cryptocurrencies and all these assets go up except for the stable coin, right? So as the dollar is decreasing in value, things like Bitcoin and gold and all this stuff offer them a way to pay out the 10%.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
That makes sense.
I will say that there has been scams like in the past, in the early days of products like this, where they were just straight up Ponzi schemes. They were giving out like 24% interest and and then they would like shut down and you never see them again. But Nexo's been around for a while. BlockFi has been around for a while as well. BlockFi's rates are more traditional. This is more traditional where you get like a 6-month loan term, right? Whereas Nexo, you don't get a term.
That's why it pays interest daily?
Yeah. BlockFi doesn't, but Nexo will pay you interest daily.
So these are like crypto banks, basically, and you invest in them, and then they lend and they give you interest, but they give you way more interest than a bank. But is that 10%? That's 10% on your crypto, right?
That's 10% on the U.S. dollar.
On the U.S. dollar?
Yeah. For things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they'll give you like maybe 4%, but on the U.S. dollar, it's 10%.
Well, aren't you buying crypto from them and then keeping that in the bank?
No.
Or just giving them dollars?
No, so if you have $10,000, what you have to do is you have to go to like an exchange and you buy the stable coin. And you take that stable coin and you deposit into Nexo, and then they give you, and then that's when you start accruing interest.
Okay.
Right. But for things like Compound, you don't have to deposit it anywhere. It stays within your wallet. You are just allocating it. So you send it to a pool, right? You're not actually sending it to like a centralized group like Nexo. You are exchanging it for a token that is entitles you for that amount on the blockchain. So it's kind of hard to explain without actually drawing some diagrams about it, but yeah.
This Nexo thing though, why would you just keep all your savings there? Like, fuck all the loan shit. Like, why would you just keep all your savings there?
I mean, why not?
Because people don't trust cryptocurrency.
Well, they don't. Yeah, people don't know about it. They're learning gradually, right? But like, first off, how are you going to get the USDC, right? How are you going to get the stable coin, right? You have to download Coinbase. You have to have an account with Gemini or any one of these exchanges that allows you an on-ramp to exchange your fiat money for a pegged token. So that in itself is a barrier.
So you are using tokens. It's not dollars.
Yeah, but those tokens are like they don't move up in value. They stay the same.
I understand, but it's still a derivative. It's not the actual asset.
Well, I mean, if you think about they're tokenized stuff, right? So each dollar is tokenized and accounted for and audited by third parties.
Okay.
And
that answers my question. I think I was just curious, like why, if you're dealing in tokens is different than dealing in dollars, in my opinion. So I think that.
How?
I mean, I understand the argument that you're making, that in theory there is no difference, but in practice there are. And so I think that to me is a very legitimate explanation for why this isn't being adopted in mass.
Is it because?
I mean, I'm just saying, human nature. People are resistant to things they don't understand.
That's right.
So
yeah, right.
I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm saying it's just human nature. People are because if you were truly dealing in dollars and you're going to pay 10%, I mean, half the country would already be on this.
Right, because it's easy to understand, and you just put your money in there. I think they're going to have an on-ramp, so you basically will just pay. Some companies have an on-ramp. Like I think BlockFi, if you just want to pay directly from your bank, they exchange it for a stable coin, and then boom, you're earning interest. And then when you're ready to cash out, it just exchanges it for dollars. But yeah, it's yeah. On that note, you can then take your cryptocurrency and pay your taxes in Zug. In Bitcoin, which is cool. It's pretty big for the area. It's pretty big for crypto.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Since
I wonder why they would do that.
What do you mean why? I mean, they're very crypto heavy location. A lot of companies are being built out there. It's being trialed. I think Wyoming too has some crypto benefits, and I think you can pay your local taxes in crypto. At least you could in like 2017 or 2018. I don't know about it now, but it's just countries and places starting to see it more as like as more legitimate forms of value. Yeah.
I believe that our government can handle Bitcoin, but it couldn't handle getting out stimulus payments or.
Are you kidding me? Our government is fucking retarded, man. They can't even.
But it can handle Bitcoin. I mean, I feel like that's surprising.
The Swiss government. This
is Swiss. This is the Swiss government. But speaking of which, the IRS is offering
like Montana or something.
Wyoming.
You pay your taxes.
Wyoming. Yeah, but Wyoming's different.
Government.
Yeah. The IRS is speaking of what you just said. The IRS is offering you $625,000 to crack Monero, which is a anonymous cryptocurrency. It makes it so you can't see the transactions or anything like that. It's being framed as a way to launder money or have money for illegal activities, and it's just funny because it's funny because they think that they can hire somebody to crack it when they can't even build a decent website. And then two, it's funny because $625,000 is really not that much to crack something as big as Monero. You might as well, if you had those kinds of skills, you might as well, make $1 million doing something else, It's fucking hilarious. I have no idea what the deal is with that.
Where did they come up with the number 625? So
yeah,
why 625?
Yeah, that's a weird number.
It is an odd number.
But if you want untraceable
why not
money,
750 or
why not at least $1 million? What I'm gonna pay a person 6 years of their income or something like that, 3 years, depending on if you're an engineer, you're probably making $200,000 to $300,000. So this is peanuts.
Well, that's if they're gonna pay you this in one shot. I didn't read the article, but maybe this is over time.
Yeah.
2 phases.
Oh, that would be the IRS's style.
Yeah, and then it's gonna be taxed to high heavens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna tax you for this.
It's gonna be 400,000.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Another funny thing is that United States Congress will vote on American Compete Act, which is to beat China in blockchain technology, and they're already so far behind. I'm just seeing this all unfold right now, and I'm like, you guys should have been looking at this years ago and doing something about it. If you really wanted to kill it, or you really wanted to like do something about it. I don't know. Anyways, so have you guys heard of social media amplification?
No.
No.
Sounds interesting though.
Yeah. So I recently got a laptop. I did an unboxing on the show while everybody was gone, and I'm really setting it up as kind of a method of keeping my anonymity and lowering my online identity by giving disinformation to companies like Google and like all these like website services, right? And so what they do is they have a way to kind of like triangulate you based on all the websites that you go to and all the things that you do, and your device has like an identity, and when they can all tie it back to the device to your identity and the location services you use at Google, so they know everything about you, and they know what you're consuming, and they know what you like, what you don't like, what you're susceptible to, right? This is the whole argument with like TikTok, right?ட் by the way, I guess there's this approval for Oracle to buy them, which is like, they started out helping the CIA. It is a whole thing. Anyways, so I set up this computer to spread disinformation to all these companies when I visit websites. And well, why do I do this? Because I would like to not. Can we talk about mail? I've been dying to talk about mail. Do you really want to talk about mail?
Dude, you're fucking losing it, bro. You're talking about sending disinformation to fucking Google, and what are you talking about, man? You're going crazy with this privacy stuff, bro.
It's well, no, I mean it is. So what is social media amplification, right? It's literally everything that we've been seeing from the left and the right today. If I bet you get all sorts of content and ads and information that are more geared towards the right. And I bet Duff gets more content and information towards the left. And the idea of social media amplification is if you can gather information about people, a society, and you can target individuals to sway them in a certain direction. If you send the same message over and over and over and over and over again, it reinforces a belief or a message. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I am simply trying to detach myself from that a little bit.
Just turn the computer off.
I still need to do things, man. I still need to do things, right? Like, I still need to do things, but like.
What you're saying though, because you just feel like every time you do anything, it's making a decision about what you're going to see somewhere else, like what content you're going to get or what ads you're going to get,
and these
anything.
And these things
and
are
it is
proven.
Really weird, and it's
these things are proven to influence thought and decision making, and on principle, that's not something I want to be a part of.
Just because there's data though that says that doesn't mean that that's going to be you.
I mean, I can scroll through my Twitter feed today, and the problem is that I don't get I get one side of things. I don't get two sides. You know what I'm saying?
Your camera's always dying, man.
Oh, it's dead because I was filming a lot. But and that's that's a problem, man. In many ways, it's already too late. You know, we talked about bulk collection. If you don't know what bulk collection is, that's the whole Snowden thing. But you know,
I don't know. I mean, I think the solution is just get off social media.
That's fine. You can be off of social media, but I mean, your Gmail, for example, is constantly scanned. It's not private at all. It's scanned for keywords, and then it's used to advertise to you. And STMP protocol, SMTP protocol, is not private at all. Anybody can, intercept your emails. Services like WhatsApp, who claim to be encrypted, are not. They use TLS to get to a centralized server, and if Facebook really wants to see your messages, they can, and they do, and they use those messages they use like AI and machine learning to go through all those messages and build a profile and an identity around you.
Yeah, and then they use it to sell you Nikes. I mean,
they don't just use it to sell you Nikes. They use it to, governments.
They use it mostly for that.
I mean, is have you heard? Okay.
But if you send disinformation, isn't it just going to send you stuff based on the disinformation?
Yes, but the point is that they can't build a full profile out of me.
They still can, because if you send the disinformation and then you like what they're sending you from the disinformation, then you're kind of failing anyway.
You're talking about social media.
Yeah. You're going to send them stuff that you wouldn't normally like, right? You would send them things that, or send them things that to program them on how you want them to respond to you.
I think maybe you guys are failing to see the depth of your profile, right? Like they have, where you are at all times of the day, what's around you, who's around you,
but
and
who cares about you though?
Companies.
Who cares about us, right? So if you feel that like something like TikTok is a problem, right? Like there's this like national threat, right? Why do people believe it's a national threat, right? Because they feel that these pieces of information can be used to influence your vote, to influence your decision making, and these are the same types of principles that are being used. And my point is it's not just TikTok, man. It's like
but TikTok's a different situation because it's a Chinese company. The Chinese government is a bad actor. The U.S. government is at times a bad actor, but not inherently a bad actor.
Okay, all right.
I would disagree with that.
Listen. I think on a fundamental principle, I don't think that the government or a private company should have that much data and that much power. And it's not about them like targeting me specifically because I'm an important person. It's me being part of like a group that can then be categorized and segmented for targeting. But that's fine. I mean, you can choose to continue to do.
No, I get what you're saying, and I think I agree with the value. But I don't know to what length I would be willing to go in order to combat this. In fact, no, I do know what length I'm willing to go. That length is zero. Like I'm going to accept it.
I know, and it's because they've finally developed. They've put hooks into, like, you need your device, you need your phone for work, you need your computer for work. It's been woven into the fabric of our lives to where it's almost too late. And it probably is too late for a lot of different reasons. But I can take steps to remove myself a little bit. Just a little.
I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's too late. I don't know if I totally agree with that because I mean, look. Speaking of Snowden, so I mean, we know that the NSA is doing this, or at least they were doing this. The whole Snowden ruling came out last week, a couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago, where a federal court ruled, I guess for the second time, I don't know all the details, but that the U.S. government was acting illegally.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. And now what will come of that, we don't know yet, but that's a good sign that our systems are sort of checking the U.S. government on this. That's different from the private sector, but the private sector should be even easier to check because we can regulate them to high heavens if we want to.
I mean,
so, I think that the appetite for that, especially around tech and social media, is growing significantly, especially social media, because outside of the privacy factor, there's significant amounts of data that show that social media has a very negative effect on society at large, especially young people. So I think it's quite likely that we're going to see significant regulation on specifically social media and probably big tech to a broader degree.
I agree. I think it's going to take a long time, though. I think
it'll happen in the next 5 years.
No, there's always going to be an argument for they're trying to prevent encryption. Put back doors for encryption, right? And Apple said no, right? But we don't know what's actually going on behind the scenes. We just don't know, right? But they're trying to use the underage or child abuse narrative to kind of like get around it, right? And another thing that's happening is there's always. My point is that there are always going to be people who are going to use fear and security and talk about security to remove some of your privacy. The LAPD, and that's the article I have brought up, is doing using data to predict crime, right? And
it's been going on for a while.
It has been, and that's my point. Is that it's been going on for a while, and that's
a good thing.
How is that a good thing?
You should be using data to predict crime. It's not like they're using data they don't have nearly the resources that Facebook has. And so it's not like, this is what New York did under Giuliani, and it was a massive success. There were, of course, some issues with like stop and frisk and stuff like that, but largely speaking, the data to predict crime program that Giuliani implemented was a massive success. This is a good thing. It's not like they're using data to predict whether or not Upload Swashi is going to go rob a bank today. That's not what they're doing. They're using data to predict patterns at various locations of the city, and then they post officers there.
This is gonna be deemed such a racist thing, though. This using data to predict crime.
Yeah, I think that's been an issue in New York. I don't know how much of an issue, but it has been an issue in New York. But I would argue that all of this is fucking moot until shit cools down on the cops.
This is just one layer of like how you use what should be private data, and how that you can push the boundaries of privacy by creating these things, right? I don't think it's right. I think that it reminds me too much of Minority Report.
Yeah, I don't think we're there. I don't think that's what this is. I think this is a good thing. This particular case.
You're knocking on somebody's door before they commit a crime?
That's not what they're doing. They're nowhere near. They're nowhere near that.
Okay, so what are they doing? They're just profiling areas.
Yeah, they take all the crimes, all the crime data, where are crimes happening, etc., etc., etc. They use that to, segment, slice, and dice, and you've done all these analytics, you know what it looks like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they come up, okay, here's the 10 hotspots where crime is happening right now. So they change postings on a day by day, hour by hour basis of where they're putting officers. And it's not like they're proactively arresting people before they've committed a crime. They're putting police officers in locations where they believe crime will happen so that they can be there to either stop it or arrest the perpetrators.
There is a company that's actually providing the data that pulls. Excuse me. They're pulling more than just areas of where crime happens.
I'm sure they're also pulling social media profiles of known gang members and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure they're doing other stuff than just the crime stats, but they're not doing that much more because they don't have that kind of access.
Maybe, those companies are getting sold for billions of dollars because of their data.
Yeah, well, the LAPD doesn't have billions of dollars to pay for it. I mean, I don't disagree with you. You're right. There's probably more data in here, and if we had all the details, we'd probably go, that piece of data maybe is unnecessary. I agree. That's probably happened. But what I'm saying is that when it comes to local politics and police force, they don't have a lot of access.
I mean, there's an app.
The feds. If you want to talk about the feds, I think that's more likely. They have way more access than the LAPD.
I think this kind of is. I think this idea in general leads to a bad place, especially in California. I mean, California.
Yeah,
I
agree
think
with you there.
I think California is turning into like there's an article that I have here about them, like a group trying to once again create its own country, but I mean I feel like California has the most potential into turning into like 1984 than any other place in the world.
100%. I agree with that. 100%. Yes, I agree.
I don't know. Also 30% taxes. What is so? I'm gonna stop picking my shit because we kind of went through my shit for way too long. I'm so sorry.
No, it's an interesting conversation.
Disney thanks Chinese labor camp authorities in Mulan credits. What?
Yeah,
I think this is an older one, I think, but yeah, the new Mulan movie. At the end of the Mulan movie, during the credits roll, they thank a province or something where they, the Chinese province of Xinjiang or something like that, which is a location that they filmed at. So they gave them a credit. Well, it turns out Xinjiang is where the one of the Uyghur concentration camps is at. So, yeah, you essentially have Disney, multinational U.S. company, multi-trillion-dollar U.S. company, conglomerate, thanking a authoritarian government that is essentially running concentration camps, real concentration camps. Like, I mean, I don't know that they're on the level of, Holocaust level. This isn't Auschwitz
Right.
we're talking about,
Yeah.
but it's moving in that direction. It seems like.
What is the point of these camps?
So it is. I think it's. I mean, I think it's government control. I think it's slave labor, but I think it's just they don't like these people, and so they're just like the Jews. They're just rounding them up and taking care of the problem. But the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, has said that the official reason is to these are re-education, terrorist re-education camps or something like that. So basically, the claim is that within these Uyghur communities, there's significant presence of terrorism cells, and so in order to prevent terrorism, they're putting all these people in camps and quote unquote re-educating them.
Re-educating. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. I mean, so next time AOC comes out and talks about how the U.S. government is putting Mexican children in concentration camps on the border, you should be really fucking pissed, because it's not the case. And there are major global states on the global theater that are doing that kind of shit, and we shouldn't be taking those terms lightly.
Whew. Yeah. I can't.
It's creepy, dude. It's fucking creepy. You should see some of the videos. There's videos of they got loaded onto trains. There was a video that came out recently where all the Uyghurs, where they're all dressed in the same clothes like prisoners.
What are they
They're
called?
UIGHUR. Just put like Uyghurs loaded on trains or something like that. They're a sect of Muslim.
Where are you from?
I don't know, wherever Muslim people are from.
But they're like in China,
Right there.
or they have a community in China.
This is in China. Yeah, I mean they're all over the world. We probably have Uyghurs here, but right there, the second one. Well, this might show it too. But yeah, they were like, I think they were dressed in purple jumpsuits. You saw it, and all their heads are shaved, and they're like, there they are. They're being loaded on trains. And there's another clip there, right here. See, they're all like sat, kneeling, facing one another.
Holy crap!
All their heads are shaved. Look at
And
all
they're
their heads are
blindfolded.
shaved,
They're
and
blindfolded.
they're blindfolded and handcuffed with their hands behind their backs.
What?
This shit is happening right now in China.
Yeah. I knew. I never had a visual. This is.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. And this shit has been going on for like 5 years. This isn't new.
Yeah. Yep.
And they take them to the camp. This is before they went to the camp, right?
This
they
is
don't
when
have
they're
any,
getting
like,
loaded onto
videos.
those trains. And then
They don't have
no one
videos
knows
of
where the
them
trains
at.
went.
Okay.
That's crazy.
This is fucking crazy to me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
How do they find them, with data?
some random. That's a drone. Yeah, exactly.
Chinese government uses data to find them.
Facebook and the LAPD teamed up and built some social profiles.
Well, so
I mean,
listen.
they probably do. They probably do.
I think whenever I look at my phone nowadays, I think it's a tag. Like I literally, like I'm starting to see it as an illusion of my freedom. It's a tagging device. I'm tagged voluntarily.
For sure.
And it freaks me the fuck out. It's not extreme like this, but it's a form of it in some way.
I don't know. I disagree with that.
A million of them in these camps. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Trump jumps on the offer to have Joe Rogan moderate debate with Joe Biden. That should be really fun.
Yeah.
That
So
should
this
be
guy-
really fun.
This guy Tim Kennedy, who's like he's kind of like a Rogan regular, ex Navy SEAL, I think, or ex Special Ops guy. and I guess he's been a MMA fighter, and he runs like a company where he trains law enforcement. And anyways, he was on a recent podcast, and they did their thing. And during the podcast, Kennedy brought up the idea of Rogan hosting a debate, and like this idea has been thrown around with other guests a couple of times, and Joe's never really taken the bit. He's never really said he wanted to do anything like that. But this time he was like, yeah, I would do it. And he's like, we have to do like 4 hours, just the two of them, none of their teams, no audience, no script, just the three of us locked in a room for 4 hours, and I'll grill them both. And then like the next day, Tim Kennedy put out a tweet saying like, Rogan will host a 4-hour debate, yada, yada, yada. Who wants this to happen? And Trump responded to the tweet and said, I do.
I mean,
yeah, Joe Biden can't even.
He hasn't replied at all. I mean, I feel like it would be so great if it actually happened, but it'll never happen.
Yeah.
What?
I think it will happen, but maybe not with this election. But it will happen.
Can anybody explain to me who picks the moderators? Like, how are they selected?
There's a committee. There's a chair. So there's like a whole committee, and the chairs of this committee are like CEOs and the heads of all of these like Fortune 500 companies, and they're the ones that select the moderators.
And the moderators are supposed to kind of represent questions of the people. And where do those questions come from?
Not from the people. I don't know where they come from, though.
No, I think these are being sold, basically. That's my opinion, is they're being auctioned off or sold. Maybe not necessarily for money, but certainly for favors. To CNN,
sexual favors for you and for you.
Shame, because Joe Rogan would actually ask questions that people would want to hear.
You should go watch the one with Bernie. Bernie Sanders did a podcast with Joe Rogan for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and they just sat there and talked. And it's like, I mean, he's done multiple podcasts with Tulsi Gabbard, and he's done a podcast with Andrew Yang as well.
Yeah.
But they were smaller candidates. When Bernie went on, I mean, he was, at the time, this was before the conventions. At the time, he was a major candidate, and it was a big fucking deal. And it was great. Like, he got so much exposure after that.
Yeah.
It's
a good medium.
Speaking of which, have you guys heard of Something United? It's like it was like I was actually listening to Joe Rogan. I barely ever do, but he had mentioned
Citizens United.
I think that's it. They got kicked off of Twitter. Their whole thing was like, "Hey, why do we need to vote for these two people? We
didn't choose them.
we should try and vote for another option." And then I think they were also talking about looking for people on both sides of the party who are.
You're talking about the Unity Party.
Yeah, that's it.
The Unity ticket.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the thing with Jet. You know about this. We've talked about it before. The Brett Weinstein idea.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
So I guess
basically,
they got kicked
a
off
Republican
of Twitter?
and a Democrat. What's that, Arthur?
I guess they got kicked off of Twitter.
That doesn't spread.
What is it? What are they called?
I think it's like the Unity Ticket 2020 or something like that. But Brett Weinstein apparently has gone fucking head first into this whole idea, and he is setting up Unity 2020. I think that's it. The articles of unity.org. Yeah, that was it. That's it. You had it right there.
Yeah, they're
they're actually putting this into play. That's pretty cool.
Twitter suspended Articles of Unity account indefinitely. Just Say
To
No
say
to
April?
Donald. So they started a hashtag
August?
called Just Say No to Donald and Joe during Donald Trump's RNC speech. Then yesterday, Twitter suspended the Articles of Unity account indefinitely.
Why?
It's clear the establishment does not want this message of unity to spread. I don't know.
Yeah, it was some bullshit about the accounts that follow their main account are suspected of being bots. And so they had too much bot activity.
That's
being
funny
generated.
because they can't deal with the Iran app operations.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally, obvious that that's bullshit. But I mean, Brett Weinstein, fortunately, is brothers with Eric Weinstein, who is a managing director at Peter Thiel's VC company. I forget the name, which is major investors all across Silicon Valley. So he was able to make a phone call and sort of get a back channel answer. And basically, they said straight up that it was because they didn't like what they were saying.
Hey, Dark Sage, what's up? What's the question? We got a question, folks. We got a question. Isn't Peter Thiel also? He's an investor in so many different things, but he's also an investor in something that I really was concerned about. Don't remember. There's like a CIA.
Talking about Palantir?
No.
They're a data company that sells services to the federal government.
What is it called?
Palantir.
Yes, that company.
He's not just an investor; that's his company.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. All right. Well, you also, some ex-CIA director also got hired by Amazon recently.
Oh, to do their intelligence, right?
Yeah, and I think I mean, that's just nuts because Amazon owns like the internet basically.
It was to, it's also an internal thing as well. It's not just surveillance. It's like looking at employees too, and making sure that. 'Cause I heard it was very like they really track their employees
For what?
to make sure that they're working and that they're not gathering together to unionize or to, that every hour that they're there and every minute that they're there, they're where they're supposed to be working.
It's very easy, man. In fact, crypto makes this even worse, right? So there's a fear that I have with crypto, which is the reason I got out of it in the first place, like 5 years ago, or like more like 10 years ago, actually. But fuck. There's this thing called I forget what it's called, but it basically streams money to you, right? So you don't get paid on a weekly basis. You get paid in real time, meaning so if you're supposed to be on the clock from like 9 to 10, you're getting streamed money. If you stop 45 minutes into that shift, you only got paid 45 minutes, and you can take things like location, web activity.
Hey man, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
This guy has a really interesting question, actually.
Oh, what is it?
And I think we should respond to it before in case he leaves the chat or something.
I live in Massachusetts, which is very liberal on the national level. I am running for my town council as a centrist independent who is presenting himself as an alternative to the Democrats and Republicans. I want to cut waste in the budget, bring fiscal discipline back to my town, cut property taxes and invest in infrastructure projects and community outreach programs as well. what advice would you have for me as to how I can reach out to liberal and progressive voters? I am trying to be the first independent candidate elected to my town council in history, and it's not easy when you have two-party systems that is stacked against an independent. I am trying to show people I am not corrupt or a puppet of politics, and that unlike most, I care about people and want to help my town thrive and grow, and bring fresh ideas to the table. Want to become famous? What?
That's a different guy.
That's a spam.
It's a different.
That's the spam. Yeah.
Do you want to do a round
That is
robin?
a good question.
I mean, first off, thank you for checking us out, and like, it's really, really cool that you have the balls to do this, or, you know, just, it's really great to see somebody else trying to make a positive impact that is separate from, you know, the parties. So thank you. Let's do a round robin, right? Duff, you want to start? Any thoughts? I figure you're probably the most liberal person here, so.
Well, I think it's a really good question because it's something that I've been thinking about lately is how do you get away from the two-party system and be able to still feel legitimate in places that are either highly Democratic or highly Republican, and that if any of your thoughts do not fall in line with that party, that you still feel like you count in your community and you want to make it a better place. And I feel I've been thinking about this a lot, and I feel like if you're as honest as you possibly can be, and, you know, I don't know how you can get out in front of other people. I think it will take a lot of time and it will take a lot of resources. But actually in New England, I think it's in Massachusetts, there's this coalition that was founded, and I'm not exactly sure of this, but there was a coalition founded, and they actually ended up putting, I think it was in Rhode Island, they put in like they overturned 9 houses in the state Senate, or 9 seats in the state Senate recently. And I think one of them actually went to an independent senator. And they were able to do that because they ended up last year, they had, they formed this coalition, and they ended up doing a lot of fundraising within the last year. So I think you have to start somewhere. And if you can find a community of people that are like-minded, and you can really grassroots organize and get people boots on the ground and knocking on doors and attending, you know, events or you know, in the time of COVID, I imagine it's got to be really difficult, right? There's no rallies, there's no festivals or fairs or places that you can get out and in front of the community. So hire a social media manager maybe, or get someone that is as passionate as you are about this to be able to donate their time. And I think just being as open and honest with the community about what you're trying to do and how it will serve everyone. So you're not making people think that they're going against their party, but you're having them understand why these issues are important to the community that you live in. That's my answer. I hope that's helpful.
Thanks, Duff. Jet, you have any, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I think you just need to let people know where you stand on the issues and find people that are interested in your stances. And yeah, I think you want to have a plan, and you want to be really clear. And if you have a plan that people agree with, you'll get people on the bandwagon, whether they're more left-leaning or whether they're more right-leaning. But I think what people are looking for now more than ever is where people stand on certain issues. More so than like what party you're affiliated with, because what the values of each party changes every year now, and it changes very fast and more rapidly. And I'm praying that there is an alternative does grow out of basically our generation is just kind of fed up with both of these parties, and and then people also want to see somebody that's, Trump, love him or hate him, but somebody that speaks the truth and doesn't, or speaks their mind rather, that doesn't like say what they think people want to hear, but just says what they want to say. I think that's a positive thing you can have in your arsenal. You definitely want to just say what you mean and mean what you say, and speak your mind. Obviously, you can filter it, but you don't want to filter it too much to the point where it's contrived and fake. And I also feel like, one of the more interesting aspects I've seen lately in campaigning is like Max Rose. He's like a council rep for Staten Island and Brooklyn, and this guy's a Democrat, and he's been running a campaign like he's a Republican. So like, his ads have been like anti whatever the Democrats are doing right now. So he's like, I was against defunding the police, and he basically has one ad where he says Bill de Blasio was the worst mayor of New York of all time. And then he's like, that's it. That's the whole ad. And the commercial goes off. So I like his ads, like, because I think it's creative, and he knows his audience, because Staten Island's very conservative, and the parts of Brooklyn that he runs are pretty conservative. So he's basically going after the people. He knows his crowd. And I think it's important to know your crowd, and don't be afraid to take risks, and just know the issues, know what you stand for, and speak into it. But also don't underestimate the powers that be, because they're going to come and try and screw you over for sure, and they're going to try and buy you, and that's the thing. It's like people get in and they think that they can make these changes, but there's so much BS that goes on once you get there, or once you get close to being there, and they try to screw you every chance they get, and they're powerful. They're very powerful, so just be mindful of that.
Thanks, Jet. He says, the problem in my town is we are in so much debt and spending is out of control. All the Democrats and Republicans want to do is spend and borrow. They never lower taxes, and put mayor is more of the same. I feel we need someone in the community who can bring in fiscal discipline, and someone who represents the people, not the money or their own interests. Lux, you want to go?
Yeah. I mean, one, I think reiterate that, thanks for stopping by and posing this question. It's really interesting. Kudos to you for what you're doing. It's pretty awesome. And I think you're right. I think a lot of, not just your town, but I think a lot of towns are in that same issue. I'm located in California. We definitely have this problem statewide. Keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome. I think Duff and Jet hit it on the nose already. I mean, I think, stay grassroots, stay local, focus on people in your community, get your message out there, be honest and open and upfront with what your ideas are. I think there's appetite for people like that right now. And I don't think you have to worry too much about party anymore these days. And I would say, I guess, to give a couple of pieces of practical advice, I would say, you're talking a lot about fiscal discipline. Liberals and progressives, I think, tend to not like that idea. What they want are programs that they feel are going to impact the community in a positive way. So I think what you need to do is focus on your ideas that they will align with. So be able to highlight those ideas to people who you may not have the same values as. And when it comes to issues where you disagree, such as something like fiscal discipline, lowering taxes, again, these are issues that traditionally progressives aren't really going to be in alignment with. On those issues, show them how your ideas, your policy ideas, are really geared towards a solution, and try and find common ground in the solution. That's really what I think we're all after at the end of the day, and we get caught up about arguing about whose idea is the best. my idea is better. No, the Democrats' idea is better. No, the Republicans' idea is better. And it's a me versus you competitive mentality that really takes away from the whole point of what this is all about. And what it's about is finding solutions to make the community better. And so focus on those solutions where you can, rather than just really highlighting your ideas over and over again. Fiscal discipline, fiscal discipline, fiscal discipline. How is fiscal discipline going to improve your community? And then I would say, do what you're doing. Find channels like this that are, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe more local to your community, and get your word out there. Just start talking to people, and I think you can go a long way, especially on the local level. Good luck, man.
Thank you, Lux. I think kind of going off of what Lux said, I think everybody's, put in a lot of good feedback. And once again, thanks for subbing, and thanks for posting the question. I'll preface it with what do I know? I don't really run for politics or anything like that. But I can say what I appreciate seeing, and just kind of generally what I think I see happening in the current landscape. I think what I heard Lux say was really focus on the things that unify people, the common ground. There's not much difference from a Republican who is touting about lower taxes, living out of his van or whatever, and kind of a hippie liberal onto his next protest or whatever. But what they do have what they have in common, they actually have more in common on the income level, right? They're both lower income, right? So you can connect with both of those parties by talking about how to deal with lower income situations, and leaning into that. I do think that talking about solutions, but providing a very, very detailed plan that is, easily digestible on a high level, right? So I really appreciated Andrew Yang for this, right? Because he would, while everybody was talking about problems and that they're just saying that we will fix these problems, he would state the problem and then he would turn around. Jet, I'm going to mute you. God damn it. He would turn around and then say exactly how he's going to solve this issue, right? Just try not to get too caught up in being too wordy about it. Otherwise, people won't understand what you're saying and lose interest. And I will say that I think that I disagree with maybe Duff and Lux in the party, people being close to their parties or party not being an issue, and simply because I think, especially right now, the parties seem to not appreciate the nuances anymore, where they're just kind of if you don't agree with me, then, fuck you, right? So I think a message of, some kind of unifying message of some sort is needed, and I don't know what that is. Don't know what that is at all.
I agree with that.
Local, local radio stations, any way you can get in front of people right now, as Lux had mentioned, that, you gotta get moving on marketing. Maybe assemble a team of people who can help you with that, help you with marketing, help you with scheduling out all the different areas in which you can get in front of people, whether it be by radio streams or a soapbox. That's all I've got, man. Thank you so much. All right. On that note, I probably should call it.
Yeah.
It was an excellent show. Thank you, everybody. Yard sale left. What the hell?
Phone died, he said.
Damn. All right. Anything else?
Best of luck to our guy. That was a good round robin.
Yeah, it was.
Cool.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. Once again, we are finally on Spotify. I'll work on getting us in other places as well. Have a great weekend. Peace.